Hello, welcome back. Time now for business news. For that, I'm joined on set by Will Edwards. Hello there, Will.
Hi, Louise.
You're going to tell us about the Chinese economy and whether it's going up or down, Will.
Yeah, new figures just out this morning for the last quarter of last year. Let's take a look at how it stacks up, because there's a couple of ways of looking at it. If you look at the year as a whole, actually, 2012, not very good. The worst year in 13 years, 7.8% growth for 2012, down from 9.3% just the year before. But, on the other hand, for the last quarter of 2012, it's actually the first time in a couple of years that growth has gone up. So, it's actually this that the markets are focusing on. If we take a look at the Asian markets, they've generally been trading in positive territory. In fact, also helped by the fact that in December, retail sales were up by 15.2% and industrial output up 10%, both above expectations in China. You can see there the reaction that's had on the markets, particularly the Nikkei, which helped by a weak yen, is up 2.86% at close. Now, earlier I spoke to our correspondent in Beijing, Shannon Van Sant, about these figures, and she said that despite the market optimism, challenges do remain for China.
Concerns about the economy still remain. Part of the reason why China's economy still remains slower than the 10%, the 9% growth that it's recorded in years below has to do with a number of factors. One is rising labor costs. That means more manufacturing is moving to other countries in Asia. Also, China's aging population. The population here is just getting older, and so there are less people to work in the factories. There's actually a labor shortage in many parts of China right now. And also because China has used different measures to artificially stimulate its economy over the last few years. And one of those measures is huge investments in infrastructure. These measures are not sustainable over the long term. So a slowdown of China's economy, a slow in the rate of its expansion is inevitable. China still faces many challenges over the next year for its economy. One is a potential real estate bubble, also worries about a shadow illegal banking system, which makes it hard for the government and for economists to track the money and to track what's really happening in the economy here. And also the global economy, and concerns about the global economy and what's happening in Europe and the US still persist, and that slowdown is still something that China is trying to counteract domestically.
Next, Airbus has announced its sales figures for 2012, confirming that it's fallen behind its US rival Boeing. But it remains confident about 2013, and it's keen not to look like it's gloating over Boeing's recent problems with its grounded 787 Dreamliner plane. Let's take a look.
Airbus might have been overtaken by its rival Boeing in global sales in 2012, but the publication of its annual sales gave it plenty to be cheerful about. Chief Operating Officer John Leahy went so far as to claim that Airbus was the biggest company in the world over the past 2 years and had plenty to keep it busy for the next decade.
We sold 914 aircraft. We delivered 588. That means my backlog went up. We have the highest backlog in the history of the industry, 4,700 aircraft. That's about 8 years of production.
Airbus's parent company EADS aims to deliver 600 aircraft in 2013. It is not yet known how many will be of its star super jumbo, the A380, which experienced minor technical faults a year ago, since rectified. And though many airlines are struggling to keep afloat, Airbus can see only opportunities ahead in the aviation industry.
This industry doubles in size every 15 years. And you just think about that. How are we going to get double as many airplanes into places like Charles de Gaulle, London Heathrow? We're going to need A380s. We're going to need A350s.
Airbus is to launch the maiden flight of its first carbon composite A350 in May this year. It is intended to be the direct competitor of Boeing's 787, all of which are currently grounded till further notice.
All right, so from planes to automobiles, well, good news from UK car manufacturers.
Yeah, perhaps surprisingly, actually, they've had record exports for 2012, they've announced. Surprising because car sales in the EU are their lowest for 17 years, we've heard in the last couple of days. So how are they managing to do this? Their production was up by 9%, exports at record highs, 1.2 million cars exported. It's helped by the fact that only half of UK cars produced in the UK go to the EU itself. The rest go to elsewhere in Europe, as well as China, the US and other markets. And of course, the market is more globalised than, say, the French car production market, because of course Peugeot, Renault, Citroën, they've all been seeing massive problems with their sales recently, falling through the floor.
Yeah, they certainly have. Now, finally, why has the curse of the pharaoh brought an end to the career of one of Poland's most successful businessmen?
Yeah, if you can believe this, the curse of the pharaoh has caused the chief executive of the Warsaw Stock Exchange to lose his job. This is Ludwik Sobolewski, and he has... Well, it's not actually a pharaoh's curse, I'm afraid to say, but he was accused of trying to finance a film called The Curse of the Pharaoh, which was going to star his girlfriend, trying to finance it by approaching companies listed on his own stock exchange. And regulators and shareholders didn't like the sound of that. They said that was an unfair abuse of his position, and actually on Thursday his firing was confirmed. No word yet on when the film's coming out, I'm afraid, or whether it is still going to be doing so.
Okay, thank you very much, Will. Will Edwards there with our business news. Stay tuned, more news coming up in just a minute.
It's the city seeking redemption through culture. Join us as we discover Marseille, this year's European Capital of Culture.
Don't miss Culture, today, 4:10 p.m. Paris time on France 24.